So last week I was talking to you about the fact that I have this thing about business plans, and it's kind of an allergy. I'm agitated by business plans, and there's a really, really good reason why. And I was just on a coaching call with my ambition group, and one of the members very rightly said, "You were going to do that video on business plans, and I know you had some disruptive thinking around them. Can you please do it?" Because she is in the process of pitching a new idea. She wants investors. So I've hopped straight on here. Just got off my call. I've come on here and I'm recording this for you because I promised that I would talk about it. So here's what I wanted to say. And it's that I was there at that point back in my early 20s when I had this idea for a business. And whilst I got on a course, it was a Women in Business course. I went through the Prince's Trust. I had an 11-week-old baby at the time. Yet I didn't know where to start with a business plan. And so I went through what was normal then. You went to maybe local governing bodies who put you in touch with a business advisor. And typically, it was kind of the grey suit brigade. It was retired businessmen in grey suits that would come in and be sat looking, in my case, at this single mum at 24 who had this business idea that she did not know how to get off the ground, but all she knew was that all she'd ever wanted to be was an entrepreneur. And I had this idea and I was unwilling to let it go. And so then they say, well, what's your business plan? Have you got a business plan? You need to create one. And I was aware at the time, and I'm still aware now, of the same feeling of freezing, of thinking in terms of spreadsheets, in terms of thinking of figures, in terms of, having to come up with these projections that have to mean something, right? I mean, this was where I used to get so stuck is, okay, so you want me to come up with a business plan, which is forecasting. It's imagining what I'm going to do, but it was all based on figures. And I now know why I struggled so much with them. It's because I just didn't see figures. I didn't see spreadsheets. What I did see was potential. I saw my own energy. I saw the gap in the market. I saw the potential client. I had the vision of the brand. I knew the energy that I was going to bring to it. I knew what it was going to be called. I knew how I was going to source the goods. I knew how to physically bring this business forward. But what was my sticking point, which was the figures aspect, had to be presented in such a way to raise funding that I literally froze. And the reason I say that I'm kind of on this mission to almost make bank managers hate me is because I just want to get into their office space and where they sit behind the desk. And I want them to just make a different decision in terms of how businesses get off the ground, how they're funded, how they develop, and also some consideration for these potential business owners who come into their office, sometimes as a novice in entrepreneurship, as a novice in business. And in terms of, when I say novice, I mean they've just never run a business before. And all they have is the hunger and the drive and the energy and enthusiasm and this big dream. But what if spreadsheets and figures do not light them up? What if they literally just don't know how to come up with this different way of presenting their idea? What if this is their sticking block? What if they are more visionary, which is typical entrepreneur? What if they are more creative thinking? What if they see their vision in terms of mood board and ideal customer avatar and knowing, down to what their ideal customer is called, where they buy their knickers? I always say this because I'm just trying to get to the point where you need to know that much detail about your ideal customer. What if they have that down? Yet when it comes to forecasting figures, because their money mindset hasn't grown yet, because for all of those entrepreneurs out there or people that have coached with me or been in my group program, we all know that slaying the money monster, which is our money mindset, our negative mind, our monkey chimp, the negative Nancy, the Debbie Downer that rings over and over and over and over again in our head, that stuff takes time. Yet on startup, we're expected to go into this bank and present them with this really solid business plan of forecasting and profit and loss. For some of us, that is just overwhelming. And I shudder to think about the number of businesses that wouldn't have been granted access to funding or to a bank loan or to mentoring or to coaching or to somebody showing them that they believed in them, that they had a great idea and that they knew they could push it forward. And whilst I am not saying for 1 second that there is not a reason to have a business plan, and I am not saying for 1 second that profit and loss and forecasting figures is not important. I do it in my own groups, but it's just that I do it in a different way. I do it in a way that makes sense to me. Because if I just had to sit and look at balance sheets alone, I don't think I would have lasted 5 minutes as an entrepreneur. I can't even use a planner, which required me to go to a quarterly workshop where I had to sit on a table where we had loads and loads of Postit notes. I couldn't even create that without them being visually ordered in the right colours. Everyone else's would be a mishmash of all different Postit notes. They wouldn't mind whether they were big or small, different sizes, different colours. Mine had to be uniform because I'm a visual person. I see things. I don't crunch the numbers in terms of that's not how I invigorate myself over business. I know the numbers matter. I know what the numbers need to mean, but I start with the vision and I pull it back. I just want to know, is there a different way we can work with those bodies that we need to secure funding with and when we need to pitch to an investor? Is there a way that we can also see that all of these other parts of business are essential? It's not just the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet's important, but it's not just that. There is so much more behind it, especially in the creative industries. And is it any wonder that in the creative industry, these are the businesses that struggle to really grow and build on their own success? Is it a wonder that it's the businesses where they give up the easiest and the quickest? Is it a wonder that we are the ones with the most problematic lack mindset? Because it's almost beaten out of us that our way of doing business isn't serious enough. It's not sensible. It's not the way that we do things. And when I say we, it's not the way that the status quo does things. But there's a reason that I coach within the design and creative industry. There's a reason why I am just so dedicated to serving women running design-related businesses, because not only are we dealing with years of patriarchal programming that we have to show up and do business in a way that's making us more like men rather than more like women. And I also fight back against the fact that sometimes creative brains just struggle to see in spreadsheets. It doesn't mean that they know they don't have to produce them. It means that they just struggle, that they need to think in another way. They need to present in another way. And can you imagine if someone that's got an idea for the most incredible creative business could go into a bank and pitch it to a bank with the documents backing up the spreadsheet, saying, I know who my customer avatar is. I know that this is where they shop. This is what they do. This is what their typical life is like. This is what they will have done before. They've got so many children. They got married in this place. They typically get on a flight to X, Y, or Z every year, and they sit on a plane that's, whether it's EasyJet or BA, and they read this in-flight magazine, and this is what will be on their radar. This is the article that they will stop at. And that's why this product is right for them. This product will speak to them. I know how to speak to them. I know where they hang out. I know how to reach them. I know what price point will be their sweet spot, because this is about knowing your ideal customer. And I would love to see how much space on a typical business plan presented to a bank to raise investment has a massive part given over it to ideal customer. It might say, what market research have you done? That's not the same. How much do you know your ideal customer? And this is what I teach. This is what I specialize in, is getting creative businesses to go back to the drawing board, not for the figures. That comes later, and we do it. So again, I am not saying we don't put massive emphasis on figures. Hell yeah, earning money is sexy. Earning money is fun. Earning money is a birthright that we all have. I mean, our monkey mind gets in the way, but it is a birthright. And hell yeah, I have a calculator on my desk. This thing gets used all the time. But I do the other work. I also think in Post-it notes. My desk is covered in them because my brain spirals. My wall behind me covered in tear sheets and Post-it notes. My brain just thinks like that. The other walls are covered in thoughts on flip chart paper, in branding that we're working on, pasted up the wall. This is how I see my business. And this is what's helped my business grow. I do pay so much attention to money. And when I start really dialing in on the money, I make it almost like a ceremony. It's like I light a candle. If I'm going to do forecasting figures, I sit down and I play great music and I set the intention to have this amazing relationship with money. It is not a relationship which presents itself in fear of having to go into the bank to raise cash. It is from a place of, I know who my ideal customer is. And I know when I'm speaking to my ideal customer, they will be drawn to working with me because basically you watch one of my videos or you look at one of the courses I'm running and you think, hell, she gets me. She actually understands how I feel. And that's how I know that my business will thrive. That's how I know that my business will grow. I know what I charge and I know my worth, and I know I will be forever increasing my rates as my training constantly develops, as my coaching always gets better and better and better, as I add more qualifications onto my coaching. And that's the way we should all see it. It's an ever-growing, ever-evolving space where if we are constantly showing up, we are constantly growing our business, we will earn more money because we are serving at a higher level. We aren't just sticking 10% on last year's prices because that's what the bank wants us to do. As a bank manager, if I put myself in that position as somebody who's coming to me and saying, I want to have this much money to launch my business, it's the deep guttural connection that I would want to know. It's that passion, that burning passion for knowing who you are serving that I would want to know. I would want to know what you are charging, and I would probably increase your rates. Because that's the thing. Do bank managers do that? Do they look at what you're selling and do they say, you are undercharging? Like, do they challenge us? Or do they just challenge us when the figures just don't look right to them, that they're not enough? And that's why I want bank managers to start having a different conversation. What else can they do? How else can they engage with these potential clients? Because especially now, when we are at a point where some of us will be trying to raise cash, where we'll be trying to pitch new ideas, and the banks will be tighter with their money more than ever because we are in a global pandemic. Yet there is more need now than ever. There's more opportunity than ever. We can work from home. We've proved to ourselves we can work from anywhere in the world. So now is the time for there to be no barriers to making our dreams come true. Now is the time to not say, I'm going to wait to join that coaching program. Now is the time to say, I'm going to get that idea off the ground. And hell, if I need to raise cash, I will find a way. I will either get some clients first and I will start small. And I will come up with a program that will allow me to scale. Or I'm going to commit to this and I will commit to another job so I can raise some extra investment myself. Or I'm going to go to my bank and I'm going to sell this idea so well that they cannot say no to me. But I want you to be in charge of this because right now the banks have a way of doing things. It's a bit like applying for a mortgage. They have a way of doing things and we can't shift them right now. But we can shift our own consciousness. You can go into the bank and say, there is the business plan that you've asked me, but you know what? I want you to stop and take a look at this one. So go with your own vision. Go with your own addition. Make it a non-negotiable that if you are going to have the conversation with them, that they read this as well. Because here's the flip. The bank want your business. The bank want you to create a business that grows. So why aren't they more invested in the growth of it and the connection that you have to it? Why is this just about facts and figures? Because most entrepreneurs, the ones that succeed, it isn't based on just figures. It's based on serving at a higher level. And that's where I want to raise awareness. That's the part that's the sweet spot. That is the part that is actually the decision-making part of the brain, where in the moments when you are a solopreneur and you are trying to get that business off the ground and you are absolutely shattered and you just want to give up, it's that emotional part that drives you forward. And as a bank manager, I would want to know, how much did the client sitting in front of me have of that? So this is how I want you to think differently about your business plan. And if you're in the process of creating one, I would love thoughts, comments, questions. Leave them below or DM me. Or if this has made you think in a totally different way and you would just absolutely love to get on a call with me, you know I do 3-hour discovery calls. Let me know. It would be my pleasure to discuss this with you.